So, hey, everyone, Andy Hall here. You can call me Andrew Hall. You can call me Dr. Kennard. What's up, 420? What's up, John Hudson? 420's here. Excellent. I thought I was going to have to do this on my own. 420.
Shamala, sir.
Shamala, Amala, right? Shamala, Amala. How you feeling? How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
You know, I feel when I'm talking to an Australian, they say that's not too bad. They could be bleeding out from like every single orifice. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
just walking this off.
That's it. I died when I was little. My mum just told me to walk it off.
Exactly. So, but you're feeling better than yesterday. You know, you're continuing the mend, maybe.
Yes. Yep. Heading in the right direction.
That's good.
At least.
I don't want to have to call 911 over here in the States. I don't know if that works out in Australia. You know?
It does actually.
Oh, good.
You can. I think there's about 15 or 20 different emergency numbers from different countries that will all work in Australia.
Wow.
And they all just connect to our 000.
Wow. And so that's what it is. It's 000 for us.
Yeah.
All right. What's up, Cindy Plaza? Once again, thank you for your patronage. It is appreciated.
Yeah, and I think they started that in the 80s actually, and the reason being is that here in Australia, in the 80s especially, we mainly had American or British TV.
Yeah.
And so kids were dialing 911.
Sure.
And not getting through, obviously. So, yeah.
Well, that's actually innovative in seeing that this is what governments are supposed to be doing. They actually see the problem and then they respond to the problem in an effective way. How crazy is that? D Parks. I don't know if I can handle all that on my screen right now. Oh, well, there you go. So I feel I'm technically inept, as all of you know, but I was able to figure out how to do the screen on screen while I'm still in the screen. So I can like make fun of Marjorie Taylor Greene while I'm playing a video of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I feel like I should have figured this out like a year ago, maybe. But now that I have figured it out, I'm going to take the ball and run with it. That's what I think.
I thought you've always just been a little thing down on the side when there's a video playing.
Is there? It doesn't show on my screen. I have to see. This is how.
Well, at least you would. For the rest of us, it was doing what you thought you wanted it to do anyway. So
incredible. Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, you would just shrink down to a little square on the side, and then the video would be the majority of the screen.
Well, I'm just glad that my penis never fell out during those moments. You know, I mean, do a Tobin. I think that's the guy's name from CNN. Glenn Chesterton, you are abnormally quiet today, sir.
Yeah, I was just setting up my headphones. For some reason, my cordless ones didn't want to didn't want to work, so I went and got old school, wire with a wire stuck in my phone. So
okay.
yeah. So I got in the middle of your conversation. I wasn't sure what you were talking about, so I didn't want to bother you.
Don't worry. Usually just train of consciousness, right? A train or some kind of
Marjorie, sorry to interrupt. Marjorie Taylor Greene insurrection hearing today.
Yes, that is. She gets to say whether this is to determine whether or not she can run again in 2020, like this year for her seat.
Do you think 15 minutes?
Yeah. Do you think it's a landmark case enough in the sense that because there's one against Madison Cawthorn as well?
Yeah.
Do you think it's enough of a landmark case that it is that important, or is it just it depends on what state it's being filed in?
Well, what it will is that it'll set some kind of precedence, right?
Yeah.
If whether she gets busted or not, and once again, I think that if we learn nothing else from the Bill Clinton hearings from back in the day, is that you can perjure yourself in a million different ways once you get on the stand. and
Yeah.
that alone could cause more trouble than her actually being in the insurrection or aiding and abetting the insurrection.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
My
you see- go ahead, man.
Oh, well, my only question is what's the outcome though? Let's say best case scenario, she's found guilty of everything.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Well, then she wouldn't be able to run for office. I mean, she'd be barred from
But
running.
that's it.
Well, for this
I mean,
kind of,
that's good. That is a good thing. Don't get me wrong.
well, yeah, I mean, when you look at, we can bring up Nazis again, right? Because why shouldn't I? If everyone in the putsch, right, and I think it was 1922, 1923, if around there, if everyone was suddenly barred from running for public office, Hitler would never have been chancellor.
Yeah.
So that would be, I mean, when you talk about her being barred from public office, it's a hop, skip, and a jump for perhaps Trump not being able to run for public office. I know that's a reach,
But you see, okay, in terms of having to listen to her speak, what would be more annoying? Her in Congress or her on Newsmax?
well,
Because she's getting a job at Newsmax if she's not able to run or she loses.
Yeah.
She won't lose because her seat is very safe. But
people love her. I don't see her seat, her getting kicked out because of an election.
Yeah. But it's like I say, she's you see, the only thing that scares me is that if the Republicans do retake the House, and then she's already been assured that all her committee assignments are coming right back to her. So because Kevin McCarthy is a spineless coward.
From what I've seen, statistically speaking, it's a high likelihood that from what I saw on 538,
Yeah.
right in the podcast, that it's a high likelihood that the Republicans take at least the House.
Yeah. My question is, if you had to have a spineless Academy Awards, who wins? Ted Cruz, Kevin McCarthy, or Lindsey Graham?
Well, just because Cruz has been able to take such punishments, so many slings and arrows from Donald J. Trump during the election, I think that, for him, once again, Ted Cruz, I am biased. I do have a special place in my heart for Ted Cruz, just because I've been able to, because of Ted Cruz, I got my name in USA Today for making fun of Ted Cruz.
What was that about?
I after his Cancun, I'm fleeing Texas because the weather. Like a couple of years ago, I wrote a satirical post about Ted Cruz getting.
Oh, was that the one on Pathos?
Yeah, that was one of the ones on Pathos. The satirical bit was about how all of his airline miles were taken away from him, and that little thing went viral, and that's what got my name in USA Today about saying, this guy, he's kind of a jerk, maybe funny.
So basically, there were some people taking your satirical post seriously, is what happened, right?
Dude, I cannot tell you how much my soul actually gets crushed every once in a while with seeing people. Just even now, when I'm on Only Sky, right? And actually, my girlfriend had to hear me kvetch about this. I saw on one of my own groups that I manage. I'm not going to say which one. Someone used the pull quote, the quote from Andrew Kennard about the Florida bit I wrote about the textbooks being taken out because of Uranus, references to Uranus. This person just took the pull quote out and posted it on this group. And then everyone just thought it was real. And I'm like, did you? And I'm like, oh, this is just another service, by the way. Not only do I make fun of conservatives and theocrats and Christo-fascists, but I also kind of poke fun at people who, within our movement, within the rational skeptic, atheist, humanist movement, who just fail the reading test, who just, these are just, these little satirical posts I write, they are like, how good can you skeptic? How online? And I can tell you, there's a lot of fails out there. And it does kind of crush me a little bit. In my heart, I'm like looking at it and I'm showing it to her. And she goes, what do you think is going to happen, Andy? This is the system working. This isn't a glitch of the system. This is
you see, there's this I read this this thing. Now, if it's satirical, it's good. It's believable. But considering some of the religious nuts in the U.S., it wouldn't surprise me if it was real. Some woman walked in and into a store, and apparently they didn't sell tampons. So she's getting upset. She needs her tampons, and this other woman who's a religious nut called tampons devil's sex toy. She pulled her out of the store and berated her and told her that you only can have maxi pads because the tampons are the devil's thing. So she went around and started like going a truck around her city, making it that people should not be allowed to boycott, raising hell against any store that sold tampons. Now, I'm thinking this is probably satire,
Yeah,
but
probably.
it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't.
And here's the thing, and here's the trick on how to skeptic online, from my own personal experience, is that you always have to check the source. If it sounds too good to be true, if it sounds like something that sounds like that, then you should really check the source. I was on.
I think just Google it. Just Google it, because most of these stuff you just do a basic Google search, it'll show if the person even exists.
It's funny.
Well,
There is a. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Birds Aren't Real satirical group. There's they say that's based. I think we've talked about it before here in the States. There's a group that says birds aren't real and that they've all been replaced by robots. By robots. No, this is real. This is and these
drones specifically.
Drones, and they play it straight. Like for me, there's always a wink saying that this isn't true, right? That this isn't a real thing. But these the birds aren't real people. They just play it straight all the way through, and I'll say his name because he's been on the channel before and he's a good guy and he has a good sense of humor. John Loftus, right? Yeah, that John Loftus, and he would post it and he put it on his Facebook page, his Facebook account, about how he can't believe that things have gotten this bad, and it's like that is and I just typed in that is a satirical post. That is a satirical group that just plays it straight.
Okay, you see the problem with everything on how you judge how satire can get so misrepresented is that Idiocracy was just basically a documentary. Like you look at Idiocracy right now, in the lens of what we're having happened in the world right now, especially with, Donald Trump actually being a hero to some people, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's it's scary because Idiocracy, if you think about it, if we go down the Donald Trump route of the whole Back to the Future 2, the alternate timeline.
Right.
We're going to end up in Idiocracy times in 50 years.
How I try to calm myself down at times when the idiocy gets too much for me, I try to calm myself down by reminding myself this is still a relatively new technology, and that a lot of people, especially older people who look like me, do not understand stuff about the new technology.
Yeah.
That, younger people are a lot more savvy. That's because they grew up in it, and they're less likely to be fooled, I think, by this. And we've seen studies like that, right? That boomers are more likely to. I'm not a boomer. I'm a proud Xer, mind you. But older people are more likely to share fake news stories, satirical pieces as real stuff.
Have you ever? Okay, so this show called Life in Pieces on Netflix. If you've ever seen it, it's really hilarious. And the grandparents or the parents, they sign up to Facebook, and it is one of the funniest things. It's like an old person doing technology. Yeah. So they go. So they're friends with people on Facebook. So they think that we have to invite all these people over to our house.
That's fine.
It's Life in Peace. It's got what's her name? Not Judy. I forget her name, but it's got James Brolin. It's got Colin Hanks in it. I forget her name, but she's been on quite a few shows, and it is really freaking hilarious. It's basically a family thing done with there's four parts to the family. It's the parents, the two kids, and the three kids, and their separate lives. So they do, in a half-hour comedy show, they do 4 different short episodes. That's why it's called Life in Pieces, and it's really hilarious.
I've not heard of it, but I'll check it out. Simply Secular Dave points out that Glenn's mic is hot and buzzy.
Okay. I don't know what I can do. I'm turn it down a little bit.
Yeah, turn it down
Maybe
a little
because I'm just a loud, obnoxious ass. Who knows?
Well, I think you might be right 1 out of 3 of the times. Maybe.
Well, I take being called obnoxious as a badge of honor.
Right.
So
Well, you are expressive, my friend. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Cindy Plaza, I did hear about this story. There's so as everyone knows, Russian soldiers in Ukraine are basically pillaging. They're just taking stuff. And there was a Russian soldier, who stole this Ukrainian citizen's AirPods. And what the Ukrainian citizen did is that he is able to track his AirPods, and he's posting it on Instagram, from what I understand. And so people can see where his AirPods are and where the soldier who stole them are right now.
wow, technology.
Technology is right.
How long are we going to sit by and watch this bullshit go on?
Yeah.
I think we won't do anything about it because the threat of Russia retaliating and using
the threat.
Yeah. No, but
it's all talk.
It's
the same threat that's always been there. It hasn't changed.
No, but I think if you launch actual like ground troops or airstrikes, you then are probably getting China involved, and then it's going to be because if China gets involved, then it does become a full-on clusterfuck.
I think China wants to, and this isn't me expounding a new idea here, but I think China looks at Russia as a useful fool to use as a ploy against the West. I don't know how, they're not tight. North Korea and China are much tighter because North Korea is a buffer state against the West.
Yeah. But you see, but you say they use them as a useful idiot. But if they're against the West, if it came down to an actual war, they probably would side with Russia, which is a big problem.
I don't think there'd be like a full. There might be like they're doing now, economic support for Russia, but I don't see them activating the People's Liberation Army and sending guys into Taiwan, for example, or Japan. Or sending them into Russia itself.
Yeah, I think the West and especially the U.S. is just at this point battle weary, especially after Afghanistan and Iraq. They just I don't think they have I don't think they want another protracted because it would be probably a very protracted engagement, and they really don't want to be spending years and years in another country, in another war. That's just my opinion. I just don't see.
I think in terms of military planners here in the U.S., or a lot of military planners in the U.S., they would see Ukraine more like in Afghanistan back in the 80s, where we just sent in a lot of, and back then we sent in Stinger missiles, right?
Yeah.
Rocket launched, so we could so the Mujahideen were able to blow up Russian helicopters. Hey, everyone saw Rocky 4, right? Was it Rocky? No, what was it? Rambo 4 or Rambo 2?
Yeah,
right. They're
3. Rambo 3. Yeah.
3. Thank you. So yeah, I think that they want to keep the gains that the Russians are going to have to a minimum, to bleed them out as long as humanly possible, and to support the Ukrainian regime as reasonably possible up until the point of war. I mean, we just sent them a bunch of artillery pieces, artillery pieces too, and a bunch of airplane parts too for their jets.
Yeah.
So,
and see, I get all that, and I get their reasons, and I get it, but ignoring the atrocities that are happening, the innocent children,
Yeah.
the torture.
Yeah.
It's not just another annexing of a state that's not his. Like
Yeah.
there is human atrocities going on, and we would step in at other places if there's oil or something there worth adding to the humanity side of it. But this time there's not. It's just humanity. And
well, that's the thing is, like I say, the U.S. and the West has ignored, has for the most part, a lot of times completely ignored like genocide when it suits them best. Like, I mean, up until, just remember that both Canada and the U.S. turned boats around that had thousands of Jews on, and sent them right back to the death camps. The U.S. pretty much might have given logistical support, but the only reason the U.S. ever got involved in the Second World War is because of Pearl Harbor. So, and
so there's a lot to unpack there.
And we ignored Yugoslavia until we couldn't ignore it anymore.
Let's be honest with each other. The reason why we haven't had World War III up until this point, and it's unlikely that we will, is because of nuclear weapons, right? That is the thing that has kept major conflicts, that has kept conflicts from boiling over, mutually assured destruction. And the thing that keeps, superpowers from going into, or nuclear, the thing, and I'm going to do this tautology, this kind of circular logic, the thing that keeps nuclear powers from going head to head with each other are nuclear weapons. That is the big fear.
Yeah.
And Sandy Plaza, you can have a wrench. Sure. I thought you already were wrenched. I don't know that's the proper way of putting it. Here, you're all set.
But you see, also the other thing is that I think he's not crazy. He's a very smart guy. I think honestly that Putin is if Putin could survive, if Putin could he's looking, probably his population goes, if I had half of them, this country would still run. So he is happy, and I compared this to that guy on Futurama, that guy where he goes, I'm just going to send in all those guys and they're going to die for me, and then I get to come in after. He doesn't give a shit. He's willing to have millions of his own people die, and that's why I think that he would actually launch a nuclear bomb towards New York if he had to. If he thought it could gain him an advantage, he would without a doubt send a nuclear weapon and try to blow up New York.
If he could get away with it, sure he would. But the thing is that the entire country, the entire Russian Federation would be turned into glass. I mean, when you think about it, even just the French and the English would have enough nuclear weapons to turn the Russian Federation into glass, or at least a vast majority of it. I just want to say one thing too about the U.S. reticence about Ukraine. Also has to do with our European allies too, because if we are seen as overzealous with the Ukrainians, and we already saw this before the conflict actually began, about how the U.S. was dropping down the intelligence, and a lot of European countries were not having it. They thought, well, this is just Iraq all over again, about us just throwing out this fake intelligence. This time it happened to be real intelligence, but the Germans didn't want to take it seriously. A lot of European countries didn't want to take it seriously. So if we get too far ahead, if the U.S. gets too far ahead of our European allies, then they will not be, they won't be with us, and they won't be with the Ukrainians. So it's a delicate. There are many moving pieces with it. NATO is not a monolithic organization. The EU is not a monolithic organization. You have to play politics and make sure you're not getting too ahead of everybody else.
Well, on top of that, even with even just a quick airstrike, the countries that are going to get most affected are going to be European countries. So you've got to kind of like, if Russia turned their attention, say, for instance, basically blitzing London like World War II, then they could do a quick strike into France, into Britain, into any of those other countries. Whereas the U.S. outside of a nuclear thing, or a full-on marine or ground assault, is not going to get affected by their own decisions. That's one
of the reasons why European countries when they want to feel super secure, like the Baltics, for an example, the Baltic countries, they ask for U.S. troops as well as other NATO troops to be in their country. So it's one thing to invade Lithuania, for example, when there are no U.S. troops there. But even if you have a token force of like 1,000 U.S. troops there, well, that means you'd have 1,000 U.S. dead, or a couple of hundred U.S. dead, and that acts as a tripwire.
Yeah. 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 So
So much to talk about.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's sometimes it's actually kind of nice. Just I on my Facebook, I post some political stuff. But a lot of times I'm also posting music stuff, just because I got to have some. I got to have. I got to actually have some good things in my life.
I need to have good things in my life. I think that's I think that's a quotable quote from Glenn Chesterton, right?
Yeah.
There. I have good things.
Yeah. Like you can't you gotta I gotta scroll through my Facebook page and go, okay, that's a cool thing to do. That's this, that's that. That's good, because otherwise it's just because I went through a lot of times when things were just not right. It was all politics and it was all depressing shit. So
Are you trying to say that I should have good things in life besides alcohol, Glenn Chesterton?
Oh no, alcohol is one of the good things.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Did you hear, apparently, because I don't know where it was, but this the Church of Satan or something wanted to start an after-school program.
The Satanic Temple, CST. Yes.
Yeah, Satanic Temple, yes. And all these like religious people are going nuts, because they're going, first they take religion out of our school, and we're going like, well, for the most part in the US, a lot of them don't.
The After-School Satan is a response to the Good News Club, which is a evangelical group which proselytizes to children, which uses school classrooms to do that, after school hours, of course. So After-School Satan is a direct response to the Good News Club.
Yeah.
And if you have, and this is the whole point about the Satanic Temple, is that if you want religious liberty does not mean Christian exceptionalism.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. Okay, so I got to ask you a question. If you were on that flight where those people started singing all those religious hymns and stuff, you have three choices. One, pick up the guitar and break it.
No.
Two, punch the guy in the face. Or three, all three.
I would choose
all two.
Having been involved with sketchy.
Oh no! Fourth choice. Actually, sorry, third choice. Hail Satan, hail Satan, and break the guitar.
I would probably respond in some kind of absurdist way. I'm not a great singer, but I would sing something probably in response, and I think I could probably cause enough havoc and chaos that the poor and well, here's the other thing too, is that I would have to gauge my response in terms of how much trouble would I be adding onto for the stewards and the people working on the airline, because I don't want to make their lives more difficult.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to say, not that any of you would ever, the chance of this ever, you getting into that situation ever happens to you. But there is this band called Behemoth. They're a satanic black metal band from Poland. Okay, they have a song called "Oh Father, Oh Satan, Oh Son." If that ever happens to you, just play that song as loud as you can, and then get to the part where he actually screams, "Oh Father, Oh Satan, Oh Son," and do it so loud that they get like ridiculously like offended, and then maybe shut the fuck up.
Glenn, that's funny. Because I was going to say a very similar thing. I was going to say I would play Cradle of Filth's Lord Abortion at the top.
What's the song called? I've never heard. I haven't actually listened to a lot of Cradle of Filth.
Lord Abortion.
Ooh, that or you could just go with Slipknot's People Equal Shit.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I'm going to have to start closing down the show because I have
Yeah.
things I got to do before going to work today. Check out my newest piece. I haven't even promoted my recent piece over at, it's Earth Day, by the way. So I wrote a special Earth Day post about a satirical post on Only Sky about how GOP paper towels are killing the planet. It's
Okay.
It's a silly little post. I wrote it just before I came on, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Shamala hamala. I'll see you on Monday. If I don't see you over the weekend, I might do something over the weekend. I don't know. Depends on
Cool.
the
Yep. Have a good weekend, guys. I'm going to be working, so.
All right. Yeah, working.
Yeah.
Thanks for everyone for showing up in the chat.
Cool. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah.